welcome to Main Street Matters by Heart on Main Street, the podcast that knows that anyone can sell a product, but the best retailers sell a relationship. I'm your host, Patrick Keiser, and today we're going to be talking about something that doesn't come from an inventory sheet, an e-commerce dashboard, or a trade show floor. We're going to be talking about relationships. Because if there's one thing I've learned from visiting towns across the country and listening to stories of Main Street shop owners, it's this. The best retail isn't transactional, it's relational. Retail is all about connection. It's about memory. It's about trust. And in a world where convenience is everywhere, loyalty is earned through doing the little things. Every purchase has a backstory. Maybe it's the birthday gift for a best friend, a little self-care splurge, just because treat yourself. And what retailers get to do, what you get to do, is to be part of that story. Think about it. You're not just selling a candle, you're helping someone say, I'm thinking of you. Last week we talked about Paco Underhill's book, Why We Buy. In his book, he talks about how customers are more often emotional than logical in their buying decisions. And the environment that you create in your store can either support that emotion or distract from it. When your space is warm, your staff is kind, and your displays invite exploration, you're creating an emotional safe zone where people feel like they belong. The truth is, a lot of us shop because we're trying to express something: appreciation, celebration, support, even joy. When someone chooses to do that in your store, they're trusting you with a small but meaningful part of their lives. And when you honor that moment by listening, asking questions, being patient, you're creating a customer experience that they'll remember long after that item has left the shelf. It's why people drive past 3 bigger stores to come back to yours. It's why they'll tell their friends about your store. Because you didn't just sell them something, you made them feel something. And here's the key: you don't need grand gestures. Sometimes it's just the way that you gift wrap an item, the way that you recommend something based on what they bought the last time, or the time that you made them laugh. That's relationship building, that's story building, and that's what makes independent retail so special. Have you ever walked into a store and been greeted by name, or had someone remember the last thing you bought when you were in there? Those tiny moments stick with people. And they're rooted in one thing: consistency. Consistency is what builds trust in any relationship, and retail is no exception. Think about the brands or stores you return to over and over and over again. Chances are it's not just the products that keep you coming back. It's the feeling of familiarity, reliability, and comfort. In the store world, consistency shows up in dozens of ways. The tone of your signage, the care in your packaging, the way your team answers the phone or greets customers at the door. These are all cues that help customers feel safe, like they know what to expect. In Why We Buy, Underhill emphasizes how shoppers are creatures of habit. They form routines around where they shop, what they buy, and how they interact with the store. When you disrupt that routine in a confusing or careless way, it shakes their trust. But when you reinforce it, when you make the experience predictable in the best sense, it deepens that relationship. What's one thing that you do in your store that customers can count on? Maybe it's a Friday fresh flower bar, or a staff pick the week by checkout, or even just the way that you say goodbye at the register. These rituals create a rhythm. They make people feel like insiders. And if you've never thought about what your store's consistency is, start small. Audit one touch point this week. Your thank you emails, your bag stuffers, the voice that you use on Instagram. And ask, does this feel like us? Would our regulars recognize this as part of our experience? When customers feel like they know you, then they trust you. And when they trust you, they come back. Not just because they want something new, but because they want something familiar. We often talk about how to get customers to become loyal to us, to our stores, to our brands, to our social media pages. But let's flip the script for a moment and ask, How are we establishing loyalty to our customers? The strongest retail relationships aren't built through point programs or punch cards. They're built through reciprocity. Just like any good relationship, it's not about what you get, it's about what you give. So what does retailer loyalty look like? It might mean remembering a returning customer's name, asking about their family or their dog, or congratulating them on a life event that they mentioned the last time that they were in. It might mean offering a small discount, not just because it's policy, but because you genuinely appreciate their continued support. It might even mean showing up outside of a sales transaction, sponsoring their kids' fundraiser, attending their art show, or simply following their business back on Instagram. In Paco Underhill's Why We Buy, he notes that shoppers are increasingly sensitive to authenticity. They can tell when a gesture is genuine, and they can tell when it's just part of the sales strategy. When you treat your customers like people first and buyers second, they stick around. Think about the stores or brands you personally are loyal to. Why? Chances are you feel seen. You feel like more than a line on a receipt, and that's the goal. One of my favorite examples comes from a shop that I visited where the store owner had a notebook behind the counter. It wasn't for inventory, it was for notes on their regulars. Favorite scents, birthdays, what they were shopping for the last time, and every time one of those customers came in, she could reference it. And you better believe they felt that genuine connection. You don't have to go that far, but even the smallest act of loyalty, being present, being kind, being real, is noticed. Loyalty is earned in moments, not in marketing. In the magic of this approach, it multiplies. Loyal customers become advocates. They bring their friends. They defend your prices. They show up on rainy days. And in a world where retail feels tougher than ever, those are going to be the people that carry you through. As your store grows, you might expand locations and launch e-commerce or simply build a bigger following, and it gets harder to maintain those one-on-one connections. But that doesn't mean you can't still nurture relationships. You just have to scale through storytelling. Storytelling is how you stay personal, even when you can't talk to every single customer every single time. It's how you make your emails feel like a letter instead of a sales blast. It's how your Instagram captions sound like you and not a copywriter. And most importantly, it's how your customers get to know you, the human behind the cash register, the one that runs the store. Because let's be real, people shop with people and not logos. Here's a few ways to make storytelling part of your retail rhythm. Share behind the scenes moments, unpacking new arrived products, prepping displays, or restocking a favorite item that you were maybe out of before. Tell the story behind your products. Where did they come from? Why did you choose this one in particular? Introduce your staff with fun bios or doing a day in the life post. Or highlight your customers. Feature their favorite products, share testimonials from them, or celebrate milestones with them. Underhill's research shows that shoppers crave context. They want to know the why behind the what. Storytelling bridges that gap. It makes your store feel intentional, curated, and connected. Even something as simple as, we restocked this mug because Katie from the bakery next door says it's her go-to mug for her morning coffee. That's storytelling. That's community. That's retail as a relationship. The beauty of storytelling is that it creates emotional stickiness. Your customers remember the stories, and the stories help them remember you. There's a great psychological thing about telling stories that people start to see themselves in the story. They start to see it from the storyteller's viewpoint, that they become part of the story and become invested in that story. So whether you're emailing a customer, posting on social media, or just chatting at checkout, let them in. Let them feel like they are part of something, because that's what builds loyalty, and that's what lasts longer than just a season. So here's your reminders. The strongest retail strategies aren't always about sales funnels or new inventory. Sometimes they're about handwritten notes and remembered birthdays and asking someone how their mom's doing. Retail is a relationship, and relationships are built over time, one meaningful moment stacked on top of each other. If you've got a story to tell about how a customer relationship changed your business, or if you've been that customer, I would love to hear about it. Drop us a line. You can email me at contact@heartonmainstreet.org, visit our website, heartonmainstreet.org, or tag us at Heart on Main Street on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or really kind of any other social media platform. Until next time, I'm Patrick Keiser. Stay safe, shop local, and keep your heart on Main Street. This episode was written, produced, researched, and edited by me, Patrick Keiser. For more information about Heart on Main Street, you can visit www.heartonmainstreet.org.